Hey, have you ever been to your favorite bank or favorite financial institution and some stuffy guy in a suit came back and told you that you couldn't get your dream blank because your debt to income ratio was too high? And you were like,
What you talking about, mister?
believe me, I've been there. And that's exactly what this video is about. It's about what is debt to income ratio anyway, and how in the world do you calculate it? But before I get into that, if you're new, welcome. My name is Tamisha, and my goal is to help liberate you from the financial chains that have you bound. It's to give you financial freedom. So if you're interested in that, then make sure that you subscribe to my channel and make sure that you join me on this journey because I definitely want to help set you free. Okay? So, debt to income ratio. What is it anyway? Debt to income ratio is a percentage of how much money that you make that goes to your debts. So, what is your debts? Well, basically, your debt is anything that your credit report says is going to take you more than 9 months to pay off. So, anything like your mortgage, car loans, credit cards, student loans, child support, or alimony. What is not a debt? Well, basically, anything that's not a debt is considered your living expenses. So anything that you can't pay off. So like your gas for your car or your cell phone bill or your utilities or your cable bill. All of those are considered living expenses. You can't pay them off. You're going to continue paying them forever. So those are living expenses where debts will eventually get paid off. So that's why they're called debts.
Well, I get it. It's very clever.
All right. So, what income do the banks generally use to come up with your debt to income ratio? Well, they look at your adjusted gross income. And basically, what they ask you for when you come into the bank is 2 to 3 years of your tax returns. And so they get all of your tax returns, or at least 2 to 3 years of it, and they find the average. So if they ask you for two of them, then they're going to add your adjusted gross income for you. And if you have a spouse, your spouse, add them together and then come up with your average by dividing it by 2. And if they ask for 3 years, then they divide by 3. I'm sure you get it. Okay. And so how basically do they calculate this debt to income ratio? Now, here's the disclaimer. There are many, many different ways to do this. There's, of course, the total debt servicing loan as opposed to the gross debt servicing loan. And it's a whole lot of mumbo jumbo and jargon that is not needed for the layperson. What you need to know is simply the number 43. 43%. Yes, there are other people that will say it's 45%, but that's because the banks are more liberal. All right, 43% is generally the statistical cutoff that says that if the debt is more than 43% of your monthly income, then you won't pay it. Not you, of course, but statistically, most of the people will not pay any of their debts if it ends up being more than 43%. And because loan officers are generally in the business of wanting to be paid back, or investment bankers or whatever you want to call them, they want their money back. All right. So in order for them to get their money back, they want to make sure that they mitigate the cost loss as cheap as possible. So they want to make sure that they're going to ensure that they get their money back. Will they always? No, but that's just the name of the game. So 43%, that is the number. So let's say that I make $10,000. Lucky me, right? And I make that a month. Well, I make more than that a month. Let's say I make $12,000 a month, okay? And with write-offs and everything with taxes, then I basically bring home net $10,000 a month. All right, so then I just take that lovely $10,000, multiply it by 0.43 or 43%, and that means that my debt to income ratio is $4,300 a month. That's a scary figure, but that's how much I can spend, or at least that's how much the bank says that I can spend. So what happens if I want a new debt? Okay, let's say I want to buy a nice new house somewhere like in Maui. Beautiful, right? And so what I do to find out what my monthly debt that I can use is I take my debt to income ratio, which I said was 4,300 from the last example, and then let's say I am spending $2,000 in debt currently, so then I just subtract the two. 4,300 minus 2,000 means that I can spend $2,300 monthly extra in debt. Okay, so as long as I have a monthly payment for a new house in Maui under $2,300, which probably would give me a shoebox, then I am good as far as my debt to income ratio, and it will not stretch my budget theoretically. All right, so hopefully this video was of value to you. I truly hope that it was. If you want more information on financial freedom, then I believe that you will love this video that's floating above me. So until next time, make sure that you live